Alright guys, we're back for another first impressions video. So in today's video, we're sticking with the trend of fall, winter fragrances, cold weather fragrances, day-night fragrances, and we're going to stick with affordable luxury. So we're revisiting a brand called Armaf, and the fragrance of the day, guys, we're going to be talking about this one right here. This is called Armaf Odyssey Homme. Armaf Odyssey Homme is a fragrance that has attributes, and people have attributed it to Tom Ford's Noir Extreme. This is going to be a nice vanillic, warm, amber, iris-based fragrance, okay, with some spicy oriental notes in here. So I'm imagining a fragrance that is going to be really nice, really warm, really seductive, and hopefully one of the more affordable bangers that we'll have as a discovery this year. But let's get right into it. We'll go through our initial blind spot reaction and get into the review. Let's go. Alright, got her easily unwrapped. Nice black. This is the bottle design. Get it unboxed. Alright, box down. Alright. Nice black presentation to the bottle. I do like what they did here. Nice, simplistic, but also really effective, luxurious looking. Can't smell a whole lot off the bottle, so it's well sealed. Okay, now again, as we said, some of the main notes we're going to be getting in this fragrance, we're going to get vanilla, amber, iris, we're going to get oriental notes, and we're also going to get some leather and jasmine in the base, okay? So a really nice vanillic, warm, spicy fragrance with a little bit of a sweeter undertone, and then we're going to have some masculine leather as well. That's some of our notes here, but as always, guys, we'll get right into the blind smell reactions. There we go, here we go. 2, 3, 4, off the air, here we go. Okay, I can see, just off that, I can see why people may say Noir Extreme. It's not a clone, it's not even one-to-one, but I can definitely see that vanillic opening, that vanillic, ambery, spicy, but a little sweet opening to this one. But this one's gonna lean a little bit more into the amber. It's a little bit warmer than Noir Extreme. Noir Extreme has a wider array of fragrance notes. It's a little bit more uplifting. It's a little bit sweeter, especially with the coffee note in there. This doesn't have that. This one's a little bit warmer, a little bit more floral, and then the vanilla is a little bit more toned down in this one. But nonetheless, as far as the scent, definitely smells nice, smells luxurious, smells really rich, really classy, really sophisticated, and it's kind of like, you know, I guess the best way to describe this one, if you're somebody who knows that they're into really sweet fragrances and you want something that, you know, is just a little bit more toned down, a little bit more settled down, maybe a little bit more masculine, less unisex, you know, you don't want an overly gourmand dessert type, right? You want it a little bit sweeter, but also has some masculine richness, a little bit more, you know, touch to it, then I think this is a fragrance that you would probably have an affinity to. I can see the attributes to Noir Extreme, but I would not say this is a one-to-one dupe. If you're thinking you're gonna get your hands on this fragrance and it's gonna be your replacement for Noir Extreme, I would hesitate to it. I would say get your nose on it. But then again, when we talk about the affordability of the fragrance, definitely really affordable, nice fragrance for you to get your hands on. But overall, 1 for 1 off the opening. Definitely not bad, not mad at this. All right, we got the tester strip here, so let's see how this bows whenever we put it to use. Boom, oops. 1, 2, 3, we'll go 3 off the strip. Let that settle down for a bit. Again, smelling it off the opening again. Again, vanillic fragrances usually can be overly sweet and overly done, kind of can be overly playful and loud. This one isn't that at all. So this one isn't even loud, it's not in your face. You may have to overspray this fragrance, right? Because it's really soft in its projection, it's really soft in its presentation, right? The whole thing is kind of like someone who holds their hand out and they kind of are approaching you slowly, right? A really slow moment that you have to kind of take in and drink rather than someone who's gonna walk in and kind of be loud upon their arrival. This one's gonna be someone who probably likes to have a little bit more mystery to their persona and their mystique, right? But not in a Encre Noir where it's smoky and dark. It's more so, hey, if you took on Encre Noir and you juxtaposed it with someone who wants a little bit more of a vanillic sweetness to their fragrance, this would be that type of darkness, really, okay? But nonetheless, we've allowed us to sit down, so let's see what we pick up here. Vanillic, ambery, iris. Iris is a little bit more subdued, almost like a Givenchy Gentleman type, you know, iris rather than a Prada L'Homme type iris. The spices really, I think, is the kicker at this one. This one's way more spicy masculine. It's like if you were to take, yeah, this is giving me more the more I smell this one off the strip. I'm picking up that leather and jasmine in here too. So for me, it's like if you were to take the Givenchy Gentleman Eau de Parfum, combine it with a toned down version of Eau de Parfum Boise. Like you don't have the sandalwood in there. The sandalwood that makes it really spicy and masculine, that loud, projection that you would get with that Givenchy Gentleman Boise, right? A Dolce & Gabbana, the one Eau de Parfum, right? That type of, sandalwoody fragrance, that type of amber fragrance. It's not necessarily that. Take that, tone that down, couple it with EDP from Givenchy, and then a little bit of Noir, maybe like Noir, the original instead of Noir Extreme. And then lastly, if you took a little bit of, honestly, that iris accord that you would get from like a Dior Homme Intense. So it's not one fragrance. It's not a one-to-one dupe of any fragrance that really you're gonna get your hands on. I would say that this is the ballpark and the ilk of what you would like with this fragrance. Is for those of us who like more of a Givenchy Gentleman, right? A Dior Homme Intense, a Tom Ford Noir, but a little bit more toned down is what you're gonna be getting with this one. Not bad. I do like the fragrance, right? I do like the fragrance. I like what it is done. This one is definitely for if I'm in a mood and in a vibe where I don't want to be overly pronounced, I kind of want to just stay under the radar. This is the stay under the radar affordable fragrance for you to get your hands on. All right. That leather also is not overly done here, where it's not too leathery, but it's definitely, you can smell some leather in here. But let's spray this one on the skin. When I sprayed it just now on my skin and I let it kind of sit down, like the vanilla in here, slightly, a little bit synthetic almost. I think that's probably the kicker with this one. So I would definitely say the opening you have to get past. The third time around, definitely I would say that the opening you have to get past. You're gonna have to let it settle down and get till it's dried down. If you judge it based off the opening only, right, you're not really getting a full picture of what this fragrance is giving. Because the opening does have some like, okay, maybe kind of wince the third time I just tried it, but as it's settling down, the leather, that jasmine, the spices, the iris, it's done nicely. It's done nicely. Again, I stick to that assumption, right, as far as a merger of all those scents. So Gentleman, Dior Homme Intense, Tom Ford Noir coupled together made a little bit more toned down, really softly projected. But all in all, not a bad fragrance. Definitely for a guy in his 30s going out on a date, you're going to a nice lounge, a nice dinner, you want to stay under the radar. It's kind of your mystique. You're wearing black, right? Not just because the bottle is black, but I just think that this one is a little bit more serious, a little bit more put together, a little bit more subdued. And definitely for a guy who probably is a little bit more introverted in his persona, but definitely wants a nice icing on the cake to his aesthetic, okay? I'll do it, guys. I mean, first impressions done, the count of 4. Armaf, Odyssey, Homme. Nice cold weather, intimate fragrance. This is definitely more your intimate type of encounter, right? You're not going out to dinner where you're sitting across from the person, because they're not gonna smell your fragrance of this one, I don't believe. I think you're gonna be sitting next to the person. You're probably gonna be on a couch in a lounge. You're gonna be well put together. You're gonna be kind of more dressed up, but you want something that is really masculine and serious, a little seductive, right? Something that's gonna make her curious and ponder, what you have going on. But nonetheless, guys, do it. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you found this video helpful. And if you did, so make sure you hit the subscribe and the follow button so you get notified anytime I drop any new fragrance content. You can also follow me on Instagram and as well as on TikTok. Tap in with me there, engage with me there. Catch you guys on the next one. Have a good day. Much love.